Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your reading. Today's reading is going to coincide with the upcoming equinox. If you're looking for the March general readings, those have already been posted earlier, so you can take a look at those. But this reading is specifically tied to the equinox. Now, in the northern hemisphere, that would be the vernal equinox or the spring equinox, and that takes place on March the 20th. So I wanted to do a reading just to see what the equinox will bring for you and potentially what the next 3 months until we get to the solstice will look like for you. So that is the purpose of this reading. Again, if you're looking for the March general, this is not it. That has already been posted and you can take a look at those. So what we're going to do today is we're going to pull 2 oracle cards, and I'm using a different deck than I did for the generals, and we're going to pull tarot cards as well. The oracle that I'm using is the Secrets of the Mystic Grove. If you like it, I will have a deck review posted that is coming up, so I will get that to you as well. I think you're going to enjoy this deck. So again, the equinox, it's that time of year where there's equal amounts of day and light, and that will soon be followed by the solstice in the northern hemisphere. Well, in both hemispheres, that will be in June. So it'll be the winter solstice for the southern hemisphere, and then it'll be the summer solstice for the northern hemisphere. Hope all of that made sense. So as we welcome spring in the northern hemisphere and fall in the southern hemisphere, let's get to our reading and let's see what the upcoming change in seasons means for you, Aquarius. So again, I will begin with the oracle. We will pull 2 cards. Aquarius. Your first card is Awakening. Very appropriate for this upcoming change in seasons, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere. Attraction, beginning, newness, and communing. So just like everything in nature, Aquarius, you are coming out of hibernation. There is an awakening that is happening within you. And I sense a lot of you saying that it's about time. And yes, it is. If I remember back to your monthly reading, there was a lot about this, about things being put on pause. And while I think that that reading may have focused more so on a relationship, I think for you, there's been a lot of things that have been put on pause lately. For some of you, that has to do with the world events that have been happening over the last couple of years. For others, it has been more of an innate thing where you have taken a break and taken a pause from the things that you would normally be doing, the things you would normally be pursuing, or the people you would normally be pursuing. But let's pull another card. Card number 2 is Look Ahead, Visionary, Planning, Preparation. And yes, Aquarius, I believe that out of all of the signs in the zodiac, you are perhaps the number 1 visionary of the group. You have ideas. You like to execute those ideas and put them into action. You like to look ahead in terms of what is coming up. You are that spark of energy of the zodiac, and your sign is associated with electricity, and that is for a reason. So planning and preparation and awakening, these all seem to align, that even though things have been dormant for a while, you have been looking ahead and hoping and waiting for the moment and the time where things would no longer be dormant. This is card number 20 for those of you who are into the numbers. Get that into focus. And the awakening card was card number 1. So both very optimistic signs of what the upcoming season holds for you, Aquarius. So I'm liking what I see so far. Very nice. So we'll move on to tarot. Yes. Okay, Aquarius. Let's see what we have. Ace of Swords. The Hermit. Four of Swords. And the Six of Swords. We then have the Two of Wands. Let me just make some room. Eight of Swords. The Chariot. And the World. Aquarius, things are looking really, really good for you. And just like the two oracle cards, this is a very positive and optimistic reading. After hibernation, after a long pause, during which, although you might have been more dormant in terms of your activities, you have been planning, you have been laying those bricks, you've been laying out the steps for the things that you want to pursue. You've been planning, you've been setting brick by brick by brick to build that path for the things that you want. And now, with the changing of the seasons, and for the next 3 months, you will be on the path towards making these things a reality. All of those things that you've been setting up will now become actions. This season, from what I see here, looks like a launching pad for you, Aquarius. Now, the Ace of Swords indicates that there has been a breakthrough and a sense of clarity. And yes, that is true. That is true. You have been struggling with the quiet, the sitting on your hands, so to speak. And you have had to go within and do a lot of self-work. You've had to do a lot of self-work and talk yourself out of the black hole sometimes that you potentially were in. And you've done a really good job at that. A lot of dormancy, but in your case, Aquarius, I think it was needed because it allowed you to also do not just a physical reset, but a mental reset. You've been able to think certain things through that have been weighing on your mind. And you've been able to make the distinction between what needs to be left alone and left aside, and what is worth your time and what is worth your energy. And you've been able to prioritize things better than you have been in the past. Now, there are things that you are looking forward to very eagerly, and rightfully so. For those of you where you've been thinking about perhaps changing your residence or moving, I see that happening. Because again, you've been doing the research, you've been planning, you've been setting the stage for that. So for those of you who are planning on moving either to another country, another state, another home or apartment, even within the same location where you live, that is going to happen. Again, this is sort of looking at the next 3 months, and I do see that happening because you have been very methodical and very careful. The other thing that you have been doing during this break or pause, so to speak, is you've been manifesting. So you've been actively planning, actively thinking, actively setting the stage at the steps, but you've also been manifesting. And what I see here is that in the area of relationship, also things will move in the direction that you want them to. If there is a relationship that was put on pause or on hold, that is going to spring into action. The person who you had a thing with, a connection with, etc., is going to pursue you, or you are going to pursue them. It's almost like turning on the on button, flicking that switch. Everything is getting turned up and turned on here, including you when it comes to relationships. That switch will be flipped and it's on. It's on in every aspect and every area of your life, Aquarius. You had to do that internal work and had to go within in order to get out of all of the things that were binding you. And some of those things, again, were internal. So even if the circumstances of the world were not happening, I think there are things within you that have been holding you back. For some of you, you've been holding yourself back for various reasons. But there are things within and circumstances without that have been holding you back. And you had to do the inner work and process them. Now, what we have here is nothing but good news. Things are moving forward in that positive direction. All that you wanted, all that you planned, all that you sought is just ready to launch. Like I said, this season is a springboard. And the world is indicating that the outlook is very, very positive and it is very solid, and you are creating a solid foundation for yourself, because all of the work you did is not just for the next 3 months. All of the internal work that you did, Aquarius, is long lasting. It is going to carry you throughout the year. Now, even though your sign primarily dominates the month of February, you very much possess that spring-like energy, regardless of where you live or what hemisphere you reside in. You have that spring-like energy within you. Aquarius, again, we said, you are associated with electricity. You are electric and electrifying. And this right here indicates that that electricity is on. Again, flicking that switch, turning on the light. Everything springs into action. Your thoughts, your ideas, your emotions, your relationships, your career, your life path. Again, a roadmap for the next 3 months. But in your case, it indicates that it's the right path, the right movement for the remainder of the year, as indicated by the world. What needed to end has ended. What needs to begin will begin. So, Aquarius, what can I say? Awakening and looking ahead. I don't think there's been a reading where the cards have lined up so strongly with the oracle cards, but it does in your case. You've done the work, and now it's time to reap the rewards. Reap everything that you have manifested. Take it all in and enjoy it. So, thank you so much, Aquarius, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.